Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Mixed Text and Politics. If you have not done so, please subscribe to my channel and like this video for Texas news. All right, let's check this out from the Texas scorecard. There has been a bill filed here in the state of Texas which would prohibit doctors from providing hormone-blocking drugs or mutilation services to anyone under the age of 26. Anyone guilty of violating the act would face a state jail felony, and their medical license would be revoked. Now, I think this is fantastic because you're seeing a lot of young people destroying their lives and being mentally screwed up at a young age. Either their parents are cross-dressing them at a young age and they grow up and they don't know what they are. They have surgery, then they go on and regret it the rest of their lives. It's just not good. And there's no reason, in my opinion, why anybody should do this. Just be happy with who you are, in my opinion. That's how I look. You're born a guy, stay a guy. You want to dress up a certain way, whatever, but there are going to be some great consequences if you have your genitalia changed. So let's check this out. More from the Texas scorecard. It says parents may think they are helping their child by seeking hormone blockers or genital mutilation surgery, but most children grow out of their gender dysphoria phase. Studies about the issue reveal 80 to 95% of kids who express concerns about their identity will ultimately identify with their true biological self if their development is unaltered. And I've talked about this in the past, that about 85% of kids who they have this identity crisis. If the parents just let it go on and just it'll phase out. It'll on its own. They'll go back to knowing, hey, I'm happy with who I am. They won't have a identity crisis anymore. And like this says right here, studies show that 80 to 95% of kids do that. With time, if parents if they just let it play itself out and leave it alone, almost 100% of the time. 80 to 95% is almost 100%. So almost 100% of the time, your child is going to come back down to earth, I should say. Now, if you look at the other side, if you do try to persuade the child to disrupt their development and disfigure their body, the results are horrific. A long-term Swedish study analyzed individuals who underwent such procedures found that 10 to 15 years after surgery, the suicide rate rose 20 times higher than their undamaged counterparts. Another study published by the National Library of Medicine analyzing 139 boys clinically referred for gender dysphoria. The NLM assessed and followed up with the boys, classifying them as either persisters or desisters. Their assessment found that out of 139 participants, only 12.2% persisted in pretending to be the opposite biological sex, while the remaining 87.8% desisted. Now, there you go. That's another study showing the exact same thing. About 88% did away with that. They desisted and they wanted to stay the original gender that they were born with, that they were born, biologically born with. Now, here's more. A report by the Institute of Medicine of the National Academics found that transgender individuals may have increased risk of breast, ovarian, uterine, or prostate cancer due to injected hormones. In addition to the scientific data, there are growing numbers of testimonies from individuals who began transition early in their lives, only to regret their life-altering decision. Walt Hayer, who struggled with his identity since he was a child, was 40 when he was diagnosed with gender dysphoria. The doctor confided in him the only solution was a sex change. Bad advice. Man. As he went on to become a woman named Laura, he soon realized that surgery wasn't the solution to his gender dysphoria. The reprieve experienced through surgery was only temporary. Hidden underneath the makeup and female clothing was a little boy hurt by childhood trauma. I was once again experiencing gender dysphoria, but this time I feel like a male inside a body refashioned to look like a woman. I was living my dream, but still was deeply suicidal. In another instance, a woman who was asked to be referred to as Ruby identified herself as a male since she began taking testosterone at the age of 13. As Ruby was about to undergo breast removal surgery, she decided to stop her hormone treatment. I didn't think any change was going to be enough in the end, and I thought it was better to work on changing how I felt about myself rather than changing my body. And there are many stories like this. Here's another one. A woman named Grace Linsky Smith struggled with depression and identity issues for years before deciding she would transition to be a man. A year later, after taking cross-sex hormones and getting to a top surgery done, she would feel immense regret. I started my transition with cross-sex hormone injections. 4 months later, I had my breast removed. 1 year later, I would be curled in my bed, clutching my double mastectomy scars and sobbing with regret. Linsky Smith is now the president of Gender Care Consumer Advocacy Network, which advocates for reparative treatment for surgeries or hormones that have caused physical or emotional trauma. Now, there are, like I said, a number of stories like this, and you can see all ends of the spectrum here. You had one person who didn't go through with it. You had one person who completely regretted it. And I think the best thing to do, instead of this loony doctor providing surgery, saying that's the only solution to get rid of your gender dysphoria, is to get surgery. I think that's terrible advice. I think this person should seek counseling and try to find their true selves. Because just like this other person found, she was going through with the process and she realized that it was the wrong way to go. And I'm in complete agreement with that. There are ways to to go around this and not have surgery done. Seek counseling, seek help. If having an identity crisis, seek help and be happy with who you are. There's no reason to want to have surgery done and be the opposite sex. I don't. There are some people who will be totally fine, but the majority of cases show this is not the case. That a lot of people have psychological scars. They're screwed up the rest of their lives because they destroyed their body. I mean, I've never once in my life woke up and said, yeah, I think I want to be a woman today. Like, if you want to be gay, that's fine. I have no problem with gay people. I never have, and I never will. That's their decision. But they are not altering their body, their biological, themselves to be something else. It's never going to work out good in the long run. And I think this is a great bill proposed by this person down here in the Texas House. And I hope it gets traction because we don't want to see more lives destroyed. And how do you feel about this? Do you think that under the age of 26 should be the cutoff? You should be able to make a decision at 26. Do you think it should be at 18? Does this bill should it go down to 18 or does it go far enough? I think it's a step in the right direction because 25, 24, 25, you're maybe not be fully developmentally like it is. Article says that studies show that you're not fully developmentally by age of 25 till around 25, 26. Some people think it doesn't go far enough. They may think that, but I don't really know where I stand on that. 24, some people are mature enough to know, and some aren't. But you're still pretty young and dumb at 22, 23, 24. I was young and dumb at 22 years old at one point. 18-year-olds, they still need a lot of guidance by their parents. And they need to grow up a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe it should go down to 18. I don't know. That's just, I want to know what your opinion is. Does this bill go far enough? Where do you think the cutoff should be? Do you think 26 is right? Okay, you're mature enough to make this decision and live with it. There may be some, like I said, some scientific evidence to back that up. With the brain developing more mature by the age of 26. See, I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I see you next time. Thank you. Take care.